Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in. G'day, welcome, namaste, salamat datang, kumusta, and ni hao to all our travel partners that have logged in from India, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and Indonesia. A very warm welcome to you for today's webinar on Wonder Awaits, Discover Australia, a collaboration of Tourism Whitsundays, Brisbane Economic Development Agency, and Turtle Down Under. Raisa, could we have the next slide, please? Yeah, so my name is Darshana Seth, and I'm thrilled to be your host today. I've been a part of this wonderful industry for over 23 years, leading and developing trade strategies, business development, sales, marketing, and stakeholder management. I've hosted over 100 webinars till date, and I've had the opportunity to train over 20,000 fellow travel partners in the past. Next slide. Yeah, so today we're really excited to have an incredible lineup of speakers and an engaging discussion all planned for you. But before we dive in, I'd just like to go through a few housekeeping rules, nothing boring, but just quick. If you've got any questions, please drop them in the Q&A box at any time. We've got a chat box, we've got a Q&A box. Please do drop in the Q&A box. We will be addressing them as many as possible during the Q&A session towards the end. Now, the more questions you think of and you can drop, you get a chance to win an Amazon voucher, okay? Which will be in your own currency because we've got travel partners logging in from different countries, from 5 different countries. And most importantly, the webinar is being recorded. So a link will be shared with you post the webinar, yeah? Now, this is our wonderful panel of experts that we've brought them all together. Thank you so much. We will be, just to share a bit of the agenda, what we're going to cover today is we will be kicking off with a presentation by Brisbane Economic Development Agency, followed by Tourism Whitsunday. Then we will proceed and hear more about Turtle Down Under on how we can help you sell these 2 amazing destinations. Yeah, the focus remains on these 2 destinations for today. And finally, we will wrap up with a Q&A session. Now, very quickly, before I actually move on to the presentation and hand it over to my first speaker, I'll just move on to the next slide and share some stats about Australian tourism. There are some insights that you can see on the screen. There's a graph here. Not going to delve much into detail over here, but just shows you the performance of major Australian source markets for international visitors for a 12-month period. So countries typically that are present here, you know, travel partners from the countries like India, Singapore, Indonesia, typically highlight the positive growth story, which is great. And it's a matter of pride for Turtle Down Under to contribute to these numbers in some way because of the presence we have in each of the South and Southeast Asian markets. Next slide, please. So without further ado, let's get started with our first speaker. We've got Kylie Smith, Trade and Development Manager, BEDA. She's a passionate Brisbane advocate with nearly 20 years experience working with tourism operators, state tourism boards, and regional tourism organizations. Brisbane is not just a gateway to Australia, but a vibrant city filled with opportunities for business and leisure. To give us an inside look into Brisbane's unique offerings, please welcome Kylie Smith. Over to you, Kylie.
Thank you, Darshana, and hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We're very excited to be able to share a little bit about Brisbane with you and hopefully give you an overview of this destination. And then obviously my wonderful colleague, Kate from Tourism Whitsundays, will go through her beautiful region as well. I did want to start off with just showing you something that you might know about Brisbane, which is the Gabba. We've got a nice big cricket match there next week. So we have a few of your colleagues and countrymen from India coming down for this test match next week. So we're excited to welcome more Indians to the to Brisbane. And I'm always happy to welcome anyone from Southeast Asia as well. Next slide, please. Just to position where Brisbane is, it's always good to know exactly where a destination is. We are the capital city for Queensland, so the Sunshine State, something that is usually on all of your itineraries, which is great. Brisbane is a great capital city, usually around 300 days of sunshine per year, and home to about 2.5 million people. So not large by many of your countries or cities standards, but it is big for Australia, the third largest city in Australia. And it makes it, being that little bit smaller, it makes it for a really great and relaxed, welcoming vibe in the city. So your clients that are coming will be able to land in Brisbane at our international airport. It's only about 25 to 30 minutes into the city. And you can just relax and spend a few days just getting over any acclimating, I guess, to the time zone and getting over any jet lag and just exploring out and about. We do have a great, what we call the city with the biggest backyard. You have nature right on your doorstep here. You can go, which I'll show you through the presentation. We are surrounded by World Heritage listed subtropical rainforests, mountains, wildlife, and tropical islands as well. So it's a great location to get started on, and then a great jumping off point to get out to the rest of Queensland and the rest of Australia. In fact, Brisbane Domestic Airport is the most connected network in Australia. So from Brisbane Airport, it's actually easier to get to any other part of Australia. And in particular, the Whitsundays, which Kate will tell you about as well. We have more flights departing from Brisbane into her region than pretty much anywhere else, I think. So yeah, it's a great jumping off point and makes it very easy to explore Queensland. And as you can see here, we are just north of the Gold Coast and just south of the Sunshine Coast. So, but next slide, please. Obviously, international connections, getting here is always super important. So this is just an overview of what's coming through from across the globe. Unfortunately, we don't have a direct flight from India just yet that connects through generally on Singapore Airlines into obviously Singapore, and then Singapore have 25 flights per week from Singapore direct into Brisbane. So that's a really great connection. From across Southeast Asia, obviously Singapore's covered. Malaysia, we're working on it, I promise. We're trying to get that flight back. Hopefully in 2025, we'll get some more insights there. Manila, Qantas just launched their Manila-Brisbane flight back in October. Philippine Airlines is also flying. Bangkok is about to launch in the next couple of weeks non-stop. Vietnam, we have Ho Chi Minh City in to Brisbane as well. And we would love a Jakarta flight, but it is Denpasar at the moment. And I know that is generally full of Aussies, but we would love to be able to get a Jakarta flight to get more Indonesians coming down as well. So, but that's obviously air access is super important. So it's something that we partner with Brisbane Airport very closely on to make sure we can get as much air access as possible. Please. So I'll tell you a little bit more about our city. It is a river city. With the 300 days of sunshine, it just means that we're spending life living in the outdoors. We always recommend just getting out and about. Brisbane has actually been named the earliest rising city in the world. You can be out here at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, especially right now. It's bright skies, blue skies already at that time of the morning, and everybody is out and about. So we are always up and out early, getting out, walking along the river. We've got pedestrian bridges all across the river. So we just recommend getting out on boats, out in the water, walking along, dining outside. We've got so many beautiful rooftop bars as well. It's just a city that lives life in the outdoors. But then it's not just about being in a city. It's about these beautiful regions that border us as well that I mentioned before. We've got some of the world's largest sand islands just to the east of us, and ancient heritage listed rainforests and mountain ranges just to the west of us as well. So it's a really great location for your clients to spend a few days just to get in and have some of that true, authentic Australian experiences before they go out and explore even further, especially in the beautiful regions in Queensland. Next slide, please. About Brisbane itself, just where you can, where everything is and how it's positioned. With the river going all the way through the city, it actually makes it really easy to navigate around the city. So the city centre is where that Brisbane City Hall is, sort of in the centre-ish, a little bit left of centre. The like south of that is the Gallery of Modern Art, the Queensland Museum, and the Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre. That's our cultural precinct of South Bank. That's a good location. The Gallery of Modern Art and the Queensland Art Gallery is a great location for families to visit, or when we have amazing exhibits. We've got the Asia Pacific Triennial of Contemporary Art that's just launched again this past weekend for the 11th year. So we have some really great options there. James Street and Howard Smith Wharves on the northern part there is another precinct that's just come into its own in recent years, which is a really great one that we recommend clients visit. And obviously down the bottom there, you all seem to know the Gabba. So that's a really great one if there's games or anything, whether it's cricket, but even just going to the AFL or something at the Gabba, that's a fun day out. Queen's Wharf, I will point out in the centre there, this is a $3.6 billion development in Brisbane, which just opened started opening, I should say, the staged opening the end of August this year. And the very first trade event that was in there, or big event that was in there, was for Southeast Asia and India, a trade event that Tourism Events Queensland operated. So it was really great to be a part of that and sponsor that event and have it right here in Brisbane at one of our brand new developments, which I will show you a little bit more about in a moment. Next slide, please. Just for accommodation, and you can continue on the slide, I wanted to show you a few that of hotels that have updated or changed names or built new in the last 4 to 5 years. So on the next slide, we can see just a few of those, if it's going to change. Yes, there we go. So the Amora Hotel was completely rebranded and refurbished and opened up again. Well, it was open throughout the renovations, but was completed in December 2023. So it's just on a year old now with this new refurbishment, but it's stunning and a great option for your clients. Hotel Indigo and Voco Brisbane opened in 2022. So these were a complete refurbishment takeover of previous hotels there. So that's a great addition to the city as well. And these 3 hotels work very closely with trade. Hyatt Regency Brisbane is a rebrand from 2021. Great location right off Queen Street Mall. So it's hard to get closer to all the action, really. Hotel X Fortitude Valley down the bottom is a part of the IHG brand of families in their Vignette collection. Great views from here and a fabulous rooftop bar as well. And then the Star Grand Brisbane on the bottom right-hand side. This is part of that Queen's Wharf development that opened in at the end of August 2024. So the hotel is part of the 2 towers just in the middle there that are connected by the deck up the top. This is the Star Grand Brisbane. Part of this whole development there, that's a 5-star hotel, I should say. Part of the development, there's also a big event centre. There will be over 50 restaurant bars and cafes and high-end retail shopping as well. There is another 2 hotels to open brand new as part of this development, but they're at least another year off at the moment. So this is an ongoing development, but it's great to have it open, and that connection, that deck right up the top there that sort of curves around. This is what we call the sky deck, 23 floors above the river, with great views out over to South Bank, across the river and across into the hinterland of Brisbane as well. Next slide, please. What I really love about Brisbane and recommend for anybody coming, and so it's good to be able to let your clients know about this, is Brisbane has really done well in taking previously little used space and transforming them into these outdoor dining and entertainment precincts. One that they've done really, really well and is like, you must send your clients here, is Howard Smith Wharves, which is on your screen right now. In this area, this used to just be a boardwalk along the river with some sheds up the back against the sheds, and now it's that's home to Christabrook Vincent, a beautiful 5-star hotel up the back there underneath the bridge. And then all along the front there with the red roof, there's Stanley, so a Cantonese restaurant. There's Yoko, a Japanese restaurant, and then Graka, a Greek restaurant. Mr. Percival's is like a cocktail bar, and then you've got Felons Brewing Co., which is an overwater brewery. So a really great place to send your clients to have a relaxed meal, beautiful food all the way along there, have beer that's made right there on site as you're having these great views out over the river. And if you time it well at night, then you've got the Story Bridge all lit up at night as well. So that's a really great option. So I do recommend sending your clients down along here for a drink or for some food. But there's a few others around the city that we'll see on the next slide as well. So like South Bank, which was the old site of the World Expo 88. So this is the cultural precinct of Brisbane, and is like filled with cafes, restaurants, parkland, and our own inner city beach as well. Fish Lane is underneath railway tracks there that's been all cleaned up, and great bars and restaurants under there. East Street North Shore is one that is a really good option for families or anybody coming out and staying here, visiting in Brisbane. It's just on, it's in the area called North Shore, so it's just sort of along the city, along the river, going. You can travel by boat, like ferry out there, or jump in an Uber or transfer out. It's about 15 minutes out of the very city centre, but it's over 100 different shipping containers contained in this one area with all different cuisines. There's live music, various stages, and lots of activities going on. So it's a great day out or an evening out. It's on Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. Next slide, please. So just for some experiences around Brisbane, we do have a few new ones that some of our older partners that you might know of have been working on as well. So Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary is the world's oldest and largest koala sanctuary. In the last year, they have launched their nocturnal experiences, which is visitors can go in the evenings and see. So a lot of our native wildlife are actually nocturnal. They usually only come out at night, and they're trained during the day to be out. So that's why, I mean, that's not why the koalas are so sleepy during the day, because it's mainly because of their diet, but see them moving around at night, or the Tasmanian devils around at night, the Bennett's tree kangaroos. So seeing them moving around at night, which is in their natural habitat, that's a really cool experience. We do love getting out and walking around the city, like we said. So urban tours, their Best of Brisbane walking tour is a great option. Going out and just exploring a bit more and getting a bit of a history of the city and just getting a bit of a lay of the land when your clients first come in. Brisbane Powerhouse Vertigo, if you've never seen this or heard of this, this is a vertical restaurant. So you go to the rooftop of the Brisbane Powerhouse, pull on a harness, climb over the edge of the Brisbane Powerhouse rooftop, and you shuffle over and you sit on a table on the outside of the building. So your legs are dangling on the outside of the building. You are served your meal there. You are limited on the drinks, obviously, that you can have there, because the option at the end is you can either walk down the stairs and, finish your meal and take your harness off and walk back down the stairs, or you can jump off from the rooftop of the building and abseil down to the ground. So, do a drop line down to the ground. So it's a nice little experience there. But if you've got clients wanting to go out on doing different 4-wheel drive tours on islands, guided shopping tours with stylists, or going to the Queensland Art Gallery, Gallery of Modern Art, there's options there, as well as on the next slide, a few more options. Out at Summerland Camels, the largest camel farm in Australia. It's just 40 minutes out of the city. You can have a really great experience out there. First Nations culture is super important, and a beautiful experience you can have over on North Stradbroke Island, the beautiful Alicia Kissick. More walking tours, Story Bridge Adventure Climb. It's a slightly shorter climb than the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and the information that they give is obviously very different because it's around Brisbane. So great experience there. And if you know of Sea Morton, it's usually been a seasonal tour or cruise in the past over to Morton Island from Brisbane. Well, they've just gone year round now as well. So that's something you can book year round, which is great to have that one. But obviously Tangalooma Island Resort, which you would all know, is still operating as well. Can we go to the next slide, please? And the next one, so Brisbane region and experiences, if we go to the next slide. I mentioned earlier how close and lucky we are to have everything right on our doorstep. This map really shows you that within 30 to 60 or even 90 minutes, everything that you can access from being in from Brisbane. So going out east over the water to the islands and the bays and the beaches there, and then going out west and you're in the mountains and rainforest and seeing wildlife in the wild. So everything is very accessible for day trips. And so your clients can still have that 5-star luxury if that's what they're looking for, or budget accommodation. We do run the gamut, but they can come back in at night and have great dining experiences, but go out and have really different authentic experiences out through the day as well. Next slide, please. This just shows that you can get that city wildlife and nature experience all from one location by going out, like being in the city, but going out into our regions as well. Next slide, please. Another thing that we have a lot of here in Brisbane is our major events. So whether it's the Australian and Queensland PGA Championships, so the golf, the British and Irish Lions Tour. So next year, this is rugby. They estimate something like 30,000 Brits to come down for this one event, which is fantastic. Obviously, I mentioned it before, but the Australian-India Test match, even next week. I am going to really mess up the name if I say it. I'll say it, but I apologise early. But the Border Gavaskar Cup, may have said that wrong. Thanks, Shana. But we're very excited to have that here as well. I'm looking forward to meeting a few of the groups that are coming out for that. I mentioned earlier the 11th Asia Pacific Triennial of Contemporary Art has just launched. Every year in September, we have the Brisbane Festival that comes along, which brings so much excitement and liveliness to the city. It's fantastic. And then at our Queensland Performing Arts Centre, we have different musicals and performances all throughout the year. In January, February, we'll have Six the Musical. Wicked just finished right in time for the movie to come out now. There's a lot happening in Brisbane at these different centres. But on the next slide, we'll also see something huge that just launched in Brisbane in November is Bluey's World. So if you've never heard of Bluey, you might not have little kids, but this little family, I should say girls, is very popular. It's the #1 stream show in Australia, the #2 stream show in the US, very popular around the world. But it's a family of these blue healers, and mum, dad, and the 2 little girls, the sisters, that live in Brisbane. And so when the BBC wanted to open an immersive experience for families to be able to come and visit and feel like they're visiting the healer's home, of course, they're going to build that in Brisbane. So they've done that. So this is a multi-year, fully immersive experience ticketed event that's available in Brisbane. So it's a great option to be able to, for any families that love Bluey and want to be able to come and feel like they're meeting Chili and Bluey. Or Bluey and Bingo, I should say, the 2 girls. So yeah, that's Bluey's World that just launched. It's gaining a lot of excitement. But then on the next one, obviously, on the next slide, in 8 years' time, Brisbane will host the 2032 Summer Olympic and Paralympic Games. So this is really exciting to be able to lead up to a lot more development happening across the city between now and then. We need something like another 9,000 hotel rooms is happening, all of our public transport, which has already been started anyway. So lots of stuff happening. But it'll be fantastic to be able to invite the world down to Brisbane. But what I love about this is if you're getting it into your itineraries now, then when everyone's going to start hearing a lot more about Brisbane, when the Los Angeles hands over to Brisbane in 2028, you're going to have people asking about Brisbane. If you've already got it in your itineraries, then they're going to know that you're the experts because you've been selling it already. So this is a really good one to get to know Brisbane now and understand it and know what to see and do. Next slide, please. I'll be able to share some information, but we do have a travel trade toolkit where we list sample itineraries and destination information and some maps on there. So we'll be able to share out a link at some point through the wonderful TDU team to be able to share out with you as well. So if you have any questions, you can contact me on Tourism Trade at that email address at the bottom, tourismstrade@brisbane-edu.com.au. But we'll also send out this link so you can access some of these sample itineraries. Sorry, I just lost it then. And I think that's the last of my slides. I think it's just going. So thank you very much, everybody. I'll pass back to the team.
Wow, thank you, Kylie, for that comprehensive overview of Brisbane. Yeah, it's so exciting to learn how the city is growing and evolving every time. Truly, it's a hub for culture, arts, events, outdoor living, and that vibrant food and music scene. Amazing. Thank you so much, Kylie. Now, before I hand it over to Kate, our next speaker, may I please remind our audience to put in your questions in the Q&A box. Now, that box can be found right at the bottom of the menu. So the more questions we have, the more Amazon vouchers you could win in your own currency. Thank you. Moving on, I'm delighted to introduce Kate Fleming, Industry Development and Trade Manager, Tourism Whitsundays. Kate has 20 years of expertise in Whitsundays tourism, covering sales, marketing, trade relations, contracting, and product development. Kate, over to you.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. You've been given a really great overview of Brisbane, and I second Kylie. Some of those precincts are incredible. And as someone who has travelled to Brisbane for 30 years, I only discovered Howard Smith Wharfs last year. I am a bit slow and late to the party, but it was well worth the wait. An incredible precinct. Can we go to the next slide, please? So I'm sure everyone's quite familiar with the Whitsundays, and you may not know that you're already familiar with the Whitsundays. As you can see here, we're located halfway between Brisbane and Cairns, and another very famous place that is located halfway between Brisbane and Cairns is Hamilton Island. Hamilton Island is one of 74 Whitsunday islands. It is also very famous internationally and very popular. So it falls within our region, and there is a lot more to the Whitsundays than just Hamilton Island, as spectacular as that is. Next slide, please. How to get here, Kylie touched on it. We do have 2 daily flights, sometimes 3 daily flights from Brisbane, depending on airline schedules elsewhere in the country. We have 2 airports servicing the Whitsundays. So we have Whitsunday Coast Airport on the mainland at Proserpine, and we have the Great Barrier Reef Airport on Hamilton Island. A couple of really cool things about flying into the Hamilton Island Airport. It is one of the shortest runways in Australia, and you land with water on 3 sides. So you take off into the water and you land into the water, and you have water on one side of you. Maybe not the best option if people are a bit scared of flying, on reflection. We are serviced by Jetstar, Virgin and Qantas in and out of both airports. And then we have a Skytrans flight from Proserpine to Cairns. So no matter where you're coming in, whether that's Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne or Cairns, you can get your clients to the Whitsundays. For those who are a bit terrified of flying, I'm not sure how they're getting to Australia already. However, within Australia, there are really great train connections. So in Queensland, we have the Queensland Rail Service that runs between Cairns and Brisbane and stops off at pretty much every town along the way. So there is numerous ways to find your way through Queensland. Next slide, please. Our weather in the Whitsundays is quite tropical. I would say we have upwards of about 320 days of sunshine a year. Our winter months aren't proper winter. Our top temperatures are about 25, 26 degrees, with overnight temperatures dropping to about 15 degrees. And then in summer, we get up to like the 32 degrees and drops to about 23 degrees overnight. So a really great temperature all year. The winter months, the water temperature remains stable all year. So the winter months, summer months, it doesn't really matter. The water stays at about 24 degrees. Next slide, please. The Whitsundays is very well known for a collection of hero experiences. So we have the Great Barrier Reef, the Whitsunday Islands, which we touched on earlier, the snorkeling, the flying, the diving, and the sailing, and Airlie Beach and the mainland. So we'll touch on a few of the differences between all of those in a second. Next slide, please. And of course, we've got 3 iconic natural wonders, which tend to be on every traveller's bucket list. Next slide. We have a section of the Great Barrier Reef accessible from the Whitsundays. Next slide. The most famous piece of the Great Barrier Reef, we have Heart Reef off the coast of the Whitsundays, accessible via helicopter or scenic flight. Next slide, please. And we also have Whitehaven Beach and Hill Inlet. So Heart Reef and Whitehaven Beach and Hill Inlet are world renowned. They've been on all sorts of billboards. They've been in all sorts of marketing collateral. There have been lots of places that have tried to claim them, but they are only located in the Whitsundays. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, we have 74 islands off the coast. There are only 5 of those islands with operating resorts on them. So majority of our islands are natural, untouched landscape. Next slide, please. We'll touch briefly on Hamilton Island, and then we're going to talk more about Airlie Beach and just the different experiences that Airlie Beach can offer your clients. Next slide, please. So on Hamilton Island, we've got the 4 main resorts. We've got Qualia and Beach Club are the 5-star adults only offerings, and then Reef View and Palm Bungalows are your more family-friendly offerings. Next slide, please. And then opening very soon in June next year is the Sundays. It's a brand new 5-star family resort with 59 rooms. Each room can take 2 adults and 1 child. There are 8 interconnecting rooms for larger families travelling together. There will be an exclusive use restaurant on site and pool area. So we're very excited to have that. It's our first hotel in the brand new hotel in the Whitsundays in about 10 years, I think. Next slide, please. Now moving over to the mainland, Airlie Beach. So Airlie Beach is a permanent town, a little bit different to Hamilton Island. Hamilton Island's very much a resort island. Airlie Beach it's where I live, it's where majority of the workforce live. We have supermarkets, we have many pubs, lots of accommodation, which we'll touch on soon, and sort of more of the facilities that you would expect in a town. So if you've got families travelling or multi-gens travelling, I seek as a mother travelling comfort in having a chemist nearby for all sorts of Panadol and things like that you might need, and Airlie Beach can offer that, as well as supermarkets, do your own shopping, etc. I'll go to the next slide, please. So as you can see here, there's a day view and a night view from slightly different angles, but there's one main town area with one street, the high street there, and a big lagoon swimming pool right on the ocean front. So they put the lagoon in so that there was an all-year swimming option for everyone. Okay, so there's a little beach at one end. There's another 2 beaches that you can't see in that photo a little bit further down. And then up on the mountain on the right, you can see all the apartment buildings. So Airlie Beach's main accommodation style is apartments, ranging from 1 to 4 bedroom. makes it a perfect location for multi-gen families or families with kids travelling. Next slide, please. So we'll run through a few of the accommodation options. Located on the esplanade of the Airlie Beach is the Airlie Beach Hotel. How many times can you say beach in 30 seconds, Kate? Very popular. They have a fantastic lineup of entertainment, changes week to week, but they get some incredible acts in the pub down the bottom there, and a mix of rooms up above, hotel rooms, one-bedroom apartment, and out the back they have some budget motel rooms. Next slide, please. We have the Coral Sea Resort, a very unique resort in the Whitsundays. It's one of the only true oceanfront resorts. It has many different room types. So it consists of hotel rooms, apartments from 1 to 3 bedrooms, like spa suites. They've got a range of offerings to suit everybody. Beautiful pool there. And what you can't see out on the right-hand side is a jetty, and it's perfect for anniversaries and proposals. They light it all up at night, and it's really a beautiful dining experience out on the end there. Next slide, please. Water's Edge Resort, it's located in the main town area. It's apartments again, ranging from 1 to 4 bedrooms. And it's a great spot to get both an ocean view and an easy walk into town. So you're only about 500 metres from the main street here, and only up a gentle rise, not a killer hill. Next slide, please. Mirage Whitsundays is located just outside the main street of Airlie Beach. They have a courtesy shuttle that runs all day to get people in and out, but they are truly waterfront as well. So their whole property edges onto the water there. Out the front of the property is a very popular place for turtles and dugongs. There's a lot of marine life just off the front of the Mirage apartments. They are luxury 5-star apartments. So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom apartments, penthouses, 2 and 3 story villas. That's a really special complex. This one, it was built originally for residential living. So all of the accommodation options within here are quite roomy and comfortable for an extended stay. Next slide, please. Peninsula Airlie Beach, another residential apartment block that was turned into holiday let. So again, very roomy, comfortable stays. Very, very waterfront. Looking out over the Coral Sea Marina, which is where some of the day tours will leave from. Next slide, please. And then we have the Boathouse Apartments. Now, these are situated on the edge of the Port of Airlie Marina. We have a marina at each end of town, as every good boating town should have. So this one is the other marina. These apartments are 2 and 3 bedroom. It's a relatively small complex, only about 3 stories high, with a pool, dining and shopping precinct on the ground floor as well. Next slide, please. Yangaro is a very special property. It was originally built as a luxury gated estate for one family. They built each child a house, and the parents had a house, and it was a lovely place to holiday. They realised they only need it for 3 weeks a year, so they turned it into a unique resort style. So there's their luxury gated estate. Each house can be rented standalone. There are 8 houses to choose from. They all have their own pools. They have a range of bedrooms from 3 to 6. And this grassed area at the front comes out, and then right from there is beach entry. It's located about 10 minutes out of town, so it's quite secluded and private, which is an amazing experience. Next slide, please. Okay, so we've touched on lots of accommodation options in Airlie Beach. The way Airlie Beach differs from Hamilton Island, apart from having all of the facilities of a town, is the accommodation. So on Hamilton Island, you have a small selection of houses and apartments, and then you have your four soon to be five main resorts. In Airlie Beach, we have 100 different apartment complexes to choose from. They are all relatively small, so it doesn't feel built out and it doesn't feel like you've got that many options, but they're sort of all tucked in together. They range from a few apartments to maybe 20 or 50. So there's no massive apartment blocks in Airlie Beach. With the two marinas in Airlie Beach, we have a lot of tours that leave directly from the mainland. So there's no experiences that your clients would miss out on by staying in Airlie Beach as opposed to Hamilton Island. We'll go to the next slide, please. We'll touch on some of those experiences now. One of our largest operators is Cruise Whitsundays. They have this amazing pontoon anchored at the Great Barrier Reef permanently. So your clients are getting on a boat from Airlie Beach or from Hamilton Island, because they service both, and taking the boat out to this pontoon. So there's a lot of room to move around. It offers a lot of security for first-time swimmers or people not confident in the water. There is also a semi-submersible sub, an underwater observatory, and an option to add guided snorkeling or diving from that pontoon. Next slide, please. And then located on that pontoon also is an amazing once-in-a-lifetime overnight experience. So underneath the pontoon, there are two underwater hotel rooms called Reef Sleep. And then on the top deck of the pontoon, underwater is called Reef Suites, and on top of the pontoon on the top deck is Reef Sleep. So there's 12 canvas-topped beds up there for a bit of glamping on the Great Barrier Reef. Next slide, please. Operating from Coral Sea Marina, we have the Whitsundays Explorer. So this is the only cruise ship style boat we have in the Whitsundays. It's 30 rooms, so it's very boutique, small group cruising, but it operates exactly like a cruise ship. So every room is an ocean view room. Meals are included, your activities are included. So there's a stop at Whitehaven Beach, there's a snorkeling stop. It goes out for 2 days and 2 nights, and it's a very unique way to experience the Whitsundays. Next slide, please. And then ocean rafting has been around for, I think, about 27 years now. So if you have sent clients to the Whitsundays, it's most likely ocean rafting they have gone to Whitehaven Beach with. Ocean rafting travels to Whitehaven Beach, Hill Inlet, and does 1 or 2 snorkeling spots, giving your clients the optimal way to see Whitehaven Beach and Hill Inlet. Next slide, please. Then we also have Red Cat Adventures. They travel out to Whitehaven Beach, Hill Inlet, and take in some snorkeling. On a scale of adventure, you have ocean rafting as the most adventurous option. Red Cat's a nice middle, they go fast and they're stable. And then Cruise Whitsundays also do a Whitehaven Beach tour on a very large, stable catamaran. So they're the least adventurous option there. Next slide, please. We also have a company called Iconic Whitsunday Adventures, and they do just that. They visit the icons of the Whitsundays. So they have a boat called Viper, which does Whitehaven Beach and the Great Barrier Reef in 1 day. It's the first time we've ever had a boat that fast in the Whitsundays, powered by 2 jet engines, jet Rolls-Royce engines, sorry. It's an amazing way, if you're short on time, to see both icons. And at the other end of the spectrum, they also have a beautiful 100-year-old timber sailing boat that does a sailing tour out to Whitehaven Beach. Sunset cruises from Airlie Beach, and there's a lot of mainland attractions as well. We've got natural watering holes and waterfalls and some beautiful mainland beaches as well. Next slide, please. And then for those who would like to charter chart their own course and charter their own vessel in the Whitsundays but don't have the sailing skills, Wings do a private charter for up to 8 people. And working with a skipper, you can plan your own trip and visit where you need to go and sleep on the boat and do all of that. But you will have a skipper and a hostess with you to care for you and to drive the whole time. Next slide, please. That's the end of the presentation. We do have a trade centre on our website that the TDU crew can send around to everyone who's registered.
Thank you, Kate, for that inspiring presentation. The way I see it simply is that the Whitsundays isn't just a place to visit, it's a place to feel, a place to lose track of time, rediscover serenity, and leave the world behind. Thank you so much once again. Now, before we move on again, thank you for all those who've put in their questions. Keep the questions coming in for us to answer them towards the end. So do stay back right till the very end with us, because we will be taking up those questions and help you answer them. Moving on, I'd now like to introduce you to Turtle Down Under, a leading inbound tour operator specializing in crafting unique experiences across Australia and New Zealand. Now, please join me in welcoming Kunal Ramchandani, Business Head, Turtle Down Under. Kunal is a tourism business expert with over 18 years of experience and is obviously very passionate of Australia. Kunal will tell us more about Turtle Down Under's offerings and how we bring these destinations to life for travelers. Over to you, Kunal.
All right, thank you, Darshana, and thank you everyone for joining us this morning, especially from India. It's early start for your day. So before we actually move on, I would like to really thank Kylie and Kate for beautifully explaining us the experiences we can actually feel and do when we are in Brisbane and the Whitsundays. So every one of us is excited after seeing what all can be done while you are in the Brisbane and Whitsundays. Let me take you through this presentation and how Turtle Down Under can help you sell these destinations and why choosing us would be the best options for you guys. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So why Turtle Down Under? Turtle Down Under has been in this business for the past 8 years. This is our 9th year in running. We operate in multiple countries, including India, Asia, Singapore, Indonesia. We have a 24/7 concierge support. That means when your travelers are on ground, every single day, there is someone who is guiding them, talking to them, messaging them, telling them about what they need, they can do, what they need to do, and giving them every assistance that they need. With our online system, you can actually create codes within 60 seconds. It's actually pretty easy. If you go and just register, you will have every detail and every explanation to the sightseeings you wish to connect with. We are an award-winning service. We are proud winners of the best inbound tour operators at the ITA Awards in 2023 as well as 2024. We have exclusive deals to lots of hotels, sightseeings, activities, which I will share in the next slide with all of you. We have fixed FID tour packages. That means they run every single day. There is no cancellations unless there is any weather conditions that force us to cancel them. We offer meet and greet at the airport door at the departure lounge as well. So if you want to add these services for your VVIP clienteles, you can definitely go ahead and let us know about these. So with TDU special add-ons, you get special add-on rates, you get special benefits that you will not get with any other operator, but that are exclusive only to Turtle Down Under. We are accredited and with quality membership and certification by ATEC, TechNZ, and certified by Hallmark, which is very, very important for you guys to know so that you are dealing with an accredited operator. Next slide. While you got to know that why you should be working with Turtle Down Under, here are some glimpses of the TDU special add-ons that you get when you book any single tour with us. If you book a Sydney tour, if you book any 2 full-day tours, you get a free Sydney night tour. When you book a Blue Mountain booking with us, you get access to Scenic World, Sydney Zoo, and a big bus ticket, 24 hours ticket, absolutely at a special price. You get a Sydney duty-free coupon, which is a 5% discount coupon for all your customers when they are visiting Sydney if you book your tours with Turtle Down Under. With Turtle Down Under, when you visit Melbourne, you get a complimentary Chadstone tote bag. And when you are going to Chadstone, which is the biggest shopping mall in the Southern Hemisphere, we will ensure that your client's visit is welcomed and made memorable by welcoming them on a large screen. So when you book any 2 full-day tours with us, you receive a Melbourne City tour free. While in Gold Coast, if you book Movie World and Sea World, you get free admission to Paradise Country. In Gold Coast, you can book a combination where you get an Aerojet boat ride free when you book a hot air balloon. At iFly Gold Coast, you get a special price that is exclusive to Turtle Down Under. While your guests, I was seeing some questions where people were asking, what do you get when you go on the Great Barrier Reef? What kind of cuisines do they provide? So, of course, the cuisines, we will come to that. But if you go on the Great Barrier Reef, you get a complimentary ice cream only when you book this tour with Turtle Down Under. When you go to Fitzroy Islands, with Fitzroy Islands, you get a free semi-sub, glass bottom, snorkeling, lunch, and ice cream even there. These are the two experiences that you can do when you're at the Great Barrier Reef. Moving on, let's see the awards and achievements that we have received in the past and currently having them. We are the best inbound tour operator awarded at the ITA Awards in the West and South for 2024. We are one of the leading DMCs in Australia and New Zealand. We were awarded at the MICE Conference Expo Awards. We were Partners of the Year for the Merlin Entertainment, which are the famous attractions located in the heart of the Sydney near Darling Harbour. Next slide. Here, you get to know the kind of experiences and the kind of clientele that Turtle Down Under has actually serviced. We had the Credai 2024 event that was completely hosted by our expert team at our head office, Melbourne. All of them were at Sydney. We operated a group of almost 1,200 plus people, and everything was fantastic. You can see our MD, Mr. Abhishek Sonthalia, with the External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar. And these are the kind of VVIP clients and VVIP groups, including the AVA ID 2024, that Turtle Down Under has operated. So when you book your tours with Turtle Down Under, you have to be rest assured about your customers. They are our responsibility, and we take care of them completely. Okay, so coming to the Whitsundays and the itinerary, I'm sure everyone is excited, and I was seeing in the questions some people asking, can you tell us how we can combine all the beautiful attractions and the possible sightseeings along with an itinerary where we can do other cities and Whitsundays plus the Brisbane. So moving on, let me give you a glimpse of a 9-night, 10 days itinerary where you can combine Melbourne, Whitsundays, Brisbane, and Sydney for your customers at a very, very exclusive price. Starting your itinerary, you come into Melbourne, you arrive into Melbourne, where you can explore the city at your own place on the day one. Day two, you can experience the Phillip Island, where you can view you see the breathtaking views and also see the penguin parade, which is very beautiful, where you have thousands of penguins coming out of the ocean. It's a natural phenomena. Day three, you depart from Melbourne and you get into the Whitsundays, where day three, you can relax. And the day four, you get to the Great Barrier Reef, which is a beautiful experience where you can go within the heart of the ocean and see the flora, fauna, and the Whitsundays. It's said that the Great Barrier Reef is so beautiful that you can even see it from the universe if you go above the earth. Of course, somebody has to do that. Day five, you go to the Whitsundays and you can experience the Whitehaven Beach, which is renowned for its white sand. You can swim and explore this part of this world, and you can explore the pristine shoreline over there. Day six, you depart from the Whitsundays and you can take your transfer from Airlie Beach Hotel to Proserpine Airport. So in the Whitsundays, you stay at the Airlie Beach, at the hotels at the Airlie Beach. From there, you can experience the full day Great Barrier Reef and the Whitsunday Islands. From the Whitsundays, you come into Brisbane. Day one, you can experience most beautiful attractions that you saw that you can cover in the heart of the city. And the next day, you can do a full day tour of the Tangalooma, which is the Moreton Island. And it's a beautiful place where you can go and experience, have the resorts, you can experience the penguins, you can experience the dolphins. The next day, on day 8, you can see the Miramar Kola cruise to the Lone Pine Sanctuary. Lone Pine Sanctuary, I think someone was asking, it's just around 10 to 12 kilometers from the city. You also have a beautiful river cruise that you can do, and you can experience the sanctuary from there. After Brisbane, you can head into Sydney, where you can explore the day. You can go to the Opera House. You can do the big bus. Can we go to the next slide? You can go to the Opera House. You can do the big bus. And in the evening, you do a showboat dinner cruise, which finishes your 9 nights. And the 10th day, you depart from Sydney. So in this way, you cover almost Melbourne, Whitsundays, Brisbane, and Sydney in a 9-night, 10 days itinerary. And the cost of this itinerary, including your hotels, attractions, and everything that was mentioned here, is a very, very exclusive price, which starts only at 2,339 Australian dollars. It's a very, very lucrative price. And all those agents who will be booking these tours with us from India, they will get a special Amazon voucher worth 2000. And for those agents who are not based in India, for other regions, you can contact the local POCs and they will give you more details. So you get the trip highlights, you get the Great Barrier Reef, you get the Whitehaven Beach, you see the Tangalooma, you see the Miramar cruise, and such beautiful experiences at a very, very, very lucrative price of only 2,339 Australian dollars. Next slide. Okay, so along with these, there are many other itineraries that are already listed on our website. So to know more, you can go and log on to turtledownunder.com.au. You click on the itinerary thumbnail, you can download the itinerary directly. You need to log on with the prompts that the website is going to ask you. And after downloading the itinerary, you can get a full PDF of that particular itinerary. So it's as easy as a few clicks. You just have to log on to turtledownunder.com.au. If you need any assistance in getting access to all of these, in getting assistance to understanding anything more about the Whitsundays, Brisbane, Australia, you can always reach out to us. There are coordinates of our team that will be mentioned here. Can we go to the next slide? Before that, so these are the coordinates that are mentioned. So you can always reach out to Darshana Seth, who is our key accounts manager. You can reach out to Siddesh, Sunil Subedar for West India. For North India, we have Ankush Kumar. For East India, we have Prasanta. For South India, you can reach out to Kartik Suryan. For any FID inquiries, you can write down to sales@turtledownunder.com.au. For groups, you can write to groupsales@turtledownunder.com.au. For Asia inquiries, you can email us at asia@turtledownunder.com.au. We have the board line number, which is 022-694-75370. You can feel free to reach out to us, and the team here is at your disposal to assist you and guide you with anything that you need. So I think, Darshana, are we ready to take some more Q&As? I think there are so many Q&As that we need to answer, and we'll be very, very excited to do so.
Absolutely. Can't wait. That's the fun part. But before that, thank you, Kunal, for sharing that brilliant content, simple, crisp, and like raring to go kind of a thing. So thank you very much. And the fact that Turtle Down Under is dedicated to creating memorable travel experiences. Now we'll straight away get into the Q&A side of things. So for those who have a few more questions, feel free to drop them. If we cannot answer at this stage, we promise you that we'll get in touch with them later with an answer. Yeah. So let me just pull up the question list. Now, I know there are some of the questions that have already been answered by our speakers, but just for the benefit of everybody, I'm going to take them up right now so everybody knows what that question was and what is the answer to it. I'm going to take up a question first. Actually, Fatma's asked a couple of questions. So the first one is about Brisbane Powerhouse Vertigo. Which floor is it? So that's one thing, one part of the question. I think, Kylie, this goes to you. But Fatima also had another question to it. And I think that should be going out to Kate. What is the mode of transportation to explore Airlie Beach and surrounds? Kylie, for you again, I'll repeat the question. Brisbane Powerhouse Vertigo, which floor is it?
Okay, it's on the rooftop. So it's like way, you go up onto the very roof of the building. But it is only, like, I was literally just there yesterday. It's only on the third, like, there's 3 levels and then it's the rooftop. The drop, if you decide to jump off at the end, is only 17 meters. So it's not that high, but still daunting if you're not in love with heights, I guess.
Oh, great. I hope that answers your doubt, Fatima. Kate, what is the mode of transportation to explore Airlie Beach and surrounds?
Okay, so within Airlie Beach, everything's in walking distance. So the main town area, it's about maybe 2 kilometres long. If you walked all the way from one marina to the other, it's not very far. So walking distance all around there. We have several car hire companies, and there are a couple of small boutique bus tours to take you further out from the main town area and discover more of the Whitsundays.
That's great. Thanks. Thanks, Kate. I'm going to pick up the next question, which is by Bhuvesh from Trip 69 India. He's dealt with, we often request for Australia bookings and the challenge we are facing currently, support from the agents for booking of activities, airport transfers in Cairns. He's listed a few activities like skydive, scuba diving, Great Barrier Reef. I think, Kunal, this one's for you.
Yes.
What support can we get from you for bookings and post-sale service?
Yes, I think I already answered that question to him. Our team is absolutely available, and we have contracts and to these activities and these attractions. You can definitely reach out to us on the contact details we mentioned to you, and the team is there. You can also log into our portal where you can get access to all these attractions and many more for which you have rates at your disposal on the portal.
Great. Thank you. Kate, I think this one's for you, although I know you answered it privately, but it'll be great if you can answer it once again. The question was from Rupal. What are the modes of transports clients can use to see the GBR and mostly to see the heart reef?
Okay, so to see it all from the air, we have small fixed wing scenic flights or helicopter scenic flights. To experience Heart Reef up close, there is a product from Hamilton Island called Journey to the Heart. It is only available from Hamilton Island. It involves a helicopter flight, out to a small pontoon at Heart Reef, a glass bottom boat trip around Heart Reef, and then a snorkel in another area of the lagoon, and then a flight back to Hamilton Island. To visit the main part of the Great Barrier Reef to snorkel and dive, that's just a boat tour with Cruise Whitsundays.
Keith, while you were here at it, I'd like to ask a question that's been posted here. Are your services disabled friendly? Would you be able to cater to people with physical disabilities, visual and hearing?
Yes, the operators, bearing in mind that a lot of our tours are boats, the operators, provided you are very clear on the abilities and the needs of your clients, the businesses and the customer service teams are very willing to help make an experience for you.
Okay. And is Indian veg food available at Whitsundays, Kate? We love our food. We just want Indian food everywhere. So that's a tough
I understand.
One. Come on.
I understand. Yes, we have a range of cuisines in Airlie Beach. We have 2 Indian restaurants. They are very much a Western Indian. No one get excited for what they're not traditional Indian, but they do offer dinner 7 nights a week. We have Italian restaurants. We have your typical Australian sort of variety restaurants that offer a bit of everything. All of the boat tours cater to dietary requirements. So if you have clients who are vegan or vegetarian, as long as you give the operators that information, they will have lunch and catering available.
Great. Kylie, this one's for you. What is the minimum duration to explore Brisbane? This question, I think, is put forward by Chirasri. So what's the minimum duration to explore Brisbane?
We say a minimum 2 to 3 nights if you're just wanting to stay in the city, maybe go out for some day trips out to an island or into the hinterland, and still having some of those city experiences, getting on a boat on the river as well. But that's because we know everybody's, when they're travelling internationally, they're time poor and they want to try and see as much as possible. So, of course, we believe that there's time for more, that you can spend more time here, but we understand that a minimum 2 to 3 nights works well. If they would like to stay out on an island, like Tangalooma Island Resort, for example, they do have a 2-night minimum. So if you stay out on the island for 2 nights overnight, then can stay in the city for 2 nights as well. So that's a good option. And when we're talking about these island resorts, because Kate obviously has some beautiful islands, the 74 islands of the Whitsundays, they are different types of islands. As Kate said, they've got 74, which only 5 have resorts on them in her region. And so, but they are they have quite a lot of vegetation and everything on them, and they're quite they're on the Great Barrier Reef, Whereas with Tangalooma, it's based on Moreton Island, which is the third largest sand island in the world. So the experiences on the islands at those resorts are quite different. So you're not doing your clients any sort of disservice by doing both Tangalooma Island Resort and a Whitsunday Island Resort, because they are different experiences and both amazing in their own right.
Awesome. Kunal, this one's a bit generic. Obviously, everybody wants the webinar link and the PDFs and the presentation copies. I think we can condense it into a PDF file and have it sent out as early as next week, you think?
Yes, yeah? Definitely. That will be shared.
All right, that's great. There are few questions from our Indian travel partners on the visa processes as well. Well, while we may not be the experts, but we know for sure from market intel that Australian visa or a visa to access Australia is one of the simplest things right now, currently. I think it's just so simple. It's digitized. There's a definite time frame. It's online, right? So it's pretty simple in that sense. But if you'd like to hear more on that, we can obviously take that offline. I think Kunal and team can really guide you on that bit. Does that sound all right, Kunal?
Yes, absolutely. We can definitely. There are no issues with visas. Typically, you should apply 30 to 40 days in advance, but generally it comes within 21 days for people who are in India.
Okay, great. I think do we have time to take any more questions, or I can see that we're already 8. Okay, yeah. We can. Yeah, we can. Cool. Okay. There's a very interesting question coming from Nidhi. And this is again for you, Kate. How comfortable is Whitsundays a place for destination weddings? Now, I'm guessing Nidhi is thinking more from an Indian wedding point of view, with all the arrangements and the organization. But otherwise, how is it as a place if you have to hold a destination wedding?
The Whitsundays is very popular for destination weddings with the domestic market. And now that the international borders are open, there are quite a few elopements. We have venues ranging from very small weddings to very large weddings. If you look at somewhere like Hamilton Island or Hayman Island, you can do seated dinners for a couple of hundred people at a time in beachfront venues. So there are a lot of options for destination weddings, whether it's just the two of you coming or whether you're bringing, 100 friends and families along as well. There are wedding planners on Hamilton and Hayman Island and Daydream Island to help with the planning and the implementation of the wedding. There are also a couple of wedding planners on the mainland in Airlie Beach that can work with some of the larger venues and some of the smaller ceremony locations. So they can pull just about anything together.
Kylie, this one's for you. Are there any guided walking tours for Brisbane? Would you know a few suppliers who can provide that service?
Absolutely. There are a few. I touched on a couple of them in the presentation. There's Urban Tours, which is operated by Guy, a local guy, a young guy who's set up the business in the last he had a business already, but he started doing walking tours in the last couple of years after I kept complaining to him that we didn't have any walking tours anymore since COVID. So he's been doing really, really well and is definitely contracted with a number of ITOs. So we'll make sure that he's connected with TDU as well. There is Fit City Tours who do operate in Sydney and Melbourne already. So you might already have them on your list, and they've started up in Brisbane earlier this year. And another one that is just launching, I haven't even done their tour yet, I'm hoping to do it this coming week, is Local Source Tours. And Justin is a Brisbane guy, but he's been living in Sydney for a number of years. So he started his business in Sydney and has been operating there, and but does love Brisbane. So he wanted to also start up to walking tours in Brisbane. So I have put a link to those operators in the Q&A. I didn't click send privately, so they should be available to everybody if they look at it.
Thanks so much, Kylie. Now, we've received a lot of questions talking about commission structures, about the pattern of booking, the process of booking, and there are far too many such questions. So what I'll do is I'll leave that with Kunal to take it offline and get in touch with you. We've got your details, right, as part of the registration process. So definitely assure you that we'll come back with a set process, because it's really, really simple, but we don't want to like kind of touch upon all those points in detail at the moment. I'm moving on to the next question here. This is about, this is from Seema, and Kunal, perhaps you can answer this better. Is there any special travel insurance required for adventure activities, like risk coverage and all, while traveling to Australia?
So I think the local travel insurance that they carry with them, that's more than enough. They don't need to take any special coverage for adventure activities.
Great. Okay, I think this one could be probably Kylie and Kate for both of you. It's like Yogesh is asking this question: how can you help us arrange some special moments for the honeymooners if requested? What can be done for the honeymooners to make their trip memorable? I mean, obviously we've seen some of the stills from Whitsundays presentation, but Kylie, do you have something in mind that you think is like an absolute to-do for honeymooners coming from India and the other cities, in Asia?
Yes, absolutely. Again, like Kate was talking about helicopters and flights over on Hart Reef, which are obviously perfect for those honeymooners. It's beautiful. I have seen it myself as well, and I can highly recommend. In Brisbane, I would say doing a helicopter scenic flight over the islands. For this one, I've done this as well, and you get to see dugongs, which is not something that you get to see in too many places, whether it's dugongs or manatees, whatever name you call them, but dugongs, turtles, whales during the season as well. So the marine life in the water and the abundance. So the Moreton Bay region is actually a breeding ground for dugongs, and they've been quite hidden because they're very shy for a number of years. But over the recent years, there's been every effort to bring this population of dugongs back, and we are seeing them more and more now. So it's not something that, can go down in the water with them or anything like that, and it's not guaranteed to see them, but it is something more and more that we are seeing on a scenic flight over the islands, whether it's North Stradbroke Island or Moreton Island. And those scenic flights can be arranged from the mainland or from Tangalooma Island Resort as well on Moreton Island.
Kate, do you want to add anything? I mean, you've covered it all in the presentation, but is there something that's your favorite, or something that you think is coming up in the near future that our trade needs to be aware of, or something?
Our operators are very good at organising just about anything. So you can do a private dinner in the underwater observatory on the Great Barrier Reef for a private proposal. Like I mentioned at Coral Sea, there's a lot of dining options at the end of the jetty. There's helicopter tours. I mean, the Whitsundays does romance very well, luckily, because we're the heart of the Great Barrier Reef.
Right. Yeah. What more do you want, right? You've got it all. Yeah. This one's from Abdullah Sheikh, and he's asked, how can we reach or access Lake Hillier?
Lake Hillier is in Western Australia.
Okay.
So for that one, I would say you need to go to Perth. I have been to that one as well. But yeah, you would need to go to Perth on that one. Beautiful destination.
Yeah, a question for the next session, perhaps, not now. But thanks Kylie for answering that. There's one from Chirasri again. Do you need a guide almost everywhere? Is it required to complete any sort of a tour, or what do you recommend? You can perhaps do things on your own as well, or I mean, obviously there are guided tours and all, but I'm not sure what it's really at, if there is an activity, but I'm sure guides are there at every activity, isn't it? In all the places.
Is that whether it's for Brisbane? We like getting out and exploring. It's something that we've been working on as a city, is the wayfinding around the city to make it easier for international guests that come in to spend more time and just explore at their own leisure as well. So you don't have to have a guide on everything, but there are guides available as well. So some of the activities do have them, like we've talked about the walking tours. There's guided kayaking tours where you can kayak out on the river as well. So there are options available, but we recommend getting out and exploring on your own as well. Okay.
We're much the same. A lot of the boat tours obviously have staff and skippers and whatnot, but they're not an individual guide for a group. So you can do a bit of self-guided exploration on Whitehaven Beach or at Hill Inlet, that type of thing, on the mainland, or if you're staying on Hamilton Island or Hayman Island or Daydream, there's a lot of flexibility to roam and explore on your own. But obviously staff around or people around to ask for help. And if you're on the mainland, there are the guided bus tours, small group bus tours to further places further out in the main street.
Related to that, Nidhi, do you have any only adults resort in the Whitsundays?
On Hamilton Island and Hayman Island, yes. So Hamilton Island has Qualia and Beach Club. Hayman Island have adults-only beachfront villas.
Okay. And Munind, who's a dear friend and also an Aussie specialist, he's kind of asked a question, why is the Whitsundays called the Whitsundays? Would you know why?
Oh, that's going to test my history, isn't it? So it actually comes from, I'm not going to say any years because I am terrible at dates. When Captain Cook was sailing through, he thought it was Whitsunday, which was a religious day, but it was actually a Tuesday, and Whit Tuesday just doesn't have quite the same ring to it. So he stuck with Whitsunday, and it turned into the Whitsundays.
Good. Full marks for you to answer that confidently. Good job.
Thanks. No one Google it while we're on this call.
Good. So there's another one from Munind again asking, are there any crocodiles in the Whitsundays? If so, how safe is it, and any season to avoid? So I think if there is, then the other question is relevant.
Yeah. Look, there's all sorts of marine life here. We've got everything. It's the ocean. We've got a very established river ecosystem as well. The benefit of having quite a lot of marine life is there is a lot of other marine life for the crocodiles to eat. So we have no issue with them at all. They are predominantly a river system creature. So everything still goes to the same places and goes snorkeling. The amount of people we put in the water a day in the Whitsundays would blow your mind. So the fact that we've had no crocodile incidents sort of speaks to how safe it is.
Kunal, perhaps you can answer. There's a lot of question and interest around the itinerary that we've designed based on the products and the webinar today. So a lot of them asking for the pricing, whether it includes the domestic sector airfares. Do you just want to touch upon something that how will we get back to our partners about the detailing of the itinerary? We've got a price point attached, isn't it? Definitely. So that would come through along with the presentation and the other links?
Yes, so as I mentioned in the presentation, the agents can go to turtledownunder.com.au and all the itineraries are listed there. They just need to log in using their IDs and they will be able to download all the itineraries, including this one, which was presented here. And all our itineraries include transfers, sightseeing, stay, and everything mentioned in the itinerary. You have to take internal flights when flying from one city to other, and the external flights when flying from India or any other country to Australia. So except for flights, everything else is included in the package.
Thank you. I think there are quite a few questions that seem overlapping and all, but we do assure you we will come back to you later on that. Kylie, this one.
Sorry, Darshana, just to mention one more thing. These packages that we have mentioned on the website are completely customizable. So they are not fixed. They can be changed to your customization, to your needs, to anything that your guest wants to change. They can definitely be done. And our team can be reached out for that.
Yeah, thanks, Kunal, for actually stressing that. So while we have the packages lined up, it really depends on your client's interest, experience, what they like to do, and all. And we can completely tailor make it as per the segment. Also, if there is different age groups involved, the senior citizens, the young travelers, the enthusiasts, the adventurers, we can all tailor make it. But we need that kind of information coming from you right at the beginning so that we can really put it all out together for you in a very, very brilliant manner. Yeah, I think that's typically. There are still more questions, but again, I think that's Kunal. Probably you'll have to reach out to people with, again, the policies, the process of bookings, what is the package all about, the costings and inclusions and everything, things like that. Even for those of you who asked us visa related questions, we definitely will get back to you offline on it. But one for Kylie before we actually wrap the Q&A session. We've got the game coming up next week, right?
Yes.
And we did a phenomenal job, the Indian team. So who are you betting at? Do you follow cricket though? If not, you got to support India. But I'm pretty sure we'll get this one in our belt too.
That's a tough one because as an Aussie, I am supposed to say Australia, obviously. But to be honest, I don't actually follow cricket. I'm not going to any of the games. I'm excited about the excitement in the city. So it just comes to life. The city's always alive, obviously, but there's always a special buzz when there's a big event a major event in. And I definitely feel that for the Indians coming in for this event, I think it's a different type of vibe, and I love that, and I get very excited about that. So I'm excited to see an uptick in our Indian visitors and guests across the city. I'm excited to see all of that.
Thanks, Kylie. Well played, I must say. Well played with that answer. But we're rooting for Team India. We'll see what happens next. But thank you. Yeah, great. We've now really come to the end of our webinar. Once again, wholeheartedly, I'd like to say a big thank you to all our speakers, Kylie, Kate, Kunal, for their engaging presentations, and most importantly, supremely important, to acknowledge all our travel partners who've taken that time out from the busy schedule, from India, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and Indonesia, to join us for our webinar session. Really, it means a lot to us. So thank you once again. We hope you found our session insightful and inspiring. As a reminder, again, we will be recording. We've recorded the session, obviously the webinar today, and we will be sharing the links, the presentations in a PDF file. If there are any particular questions, like I've already told before, we will be helping you, with the clarification of all those doubts and queries. Just a reminder that we've got our next webinar scheduled for 22nd Jan, which is next month, and that's about some of the Sydney highlights. We've got Big Bus Sydney and Sydney Zoo joining us. So please stay tuned to our on our website and social media to follow the registration links. Nonetheless, we will also be sending it out to everyone who's taken the time to join this webinar today. So yeah, that's a wrap. But again, before I conclude, if you'd like to learn more about tourism Whitsundays, BEDA, or Turtle Down Under, feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to reach out to us directly. Kunal had already shared some of the contacts, and we'll ensure that we send them again over email for all the India inquiries as well as the Southeast Asia inquiries. We've got dedicated email addresses, and we'll have it sent over via email. For anything else that you need, if you've not recorded or if you've not captured, please visit our website, turtledownunder.com.au, for the latest information, and follow our social media pages for all the updates. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend. Thank you. We'll meet again.
Thank you.
Thank you.